The night settles around us like silk, and somewhere in the distance, temple bells echo across valleys draped in mist. Tonight, we walk together down a path illuminated not by harsh light, but by the gentle glow of understanding the soft luminescence. That comes when we pause, breathe deeply, and ask the questions that matter most to the heart. Before we begin this quiet journey together, if you find peace in these whispered wisdom stories, please feel free to subscribe to our channel, offer a gentle like to support this work, and share in the comments below where in the world you're listening from tonight. Are you nestled in a cabin surrounded by pine trees? Perhaps curled beneath city lights that twinkle like fallen stars? Or maybe you're somewhere between, in that sacred space where day meets night, and the heart opens to receive what it most needs to hear. Tonight, we explore a mystery as old as the first moment two souls gazed upon each other with longing. Why do we suffer in relationships? Why does love, which should be our greatest joy, sometimes become our deepest source of pain? Picture, if you will, a single cherry blossom petal, perfect in its pink translucence, clinging to a branch in early spring. A gentle breeze whispers through the grove, and the petal trembles. It knows, somewhere in its delicate being, that its time on the branch is temporary. Yet still it holds on, afraid of the falling, afraid of the letting go. And in that fear, in that grasping, lies a universe of understanding about the human heart. In a monastery garden somewhere in the mountains, where morning mist rises like prayers made visible, an old monk sweeps the same stone path he has swept for 40 years. Each morning, the leaves fall again. Each morning, he sweeps them away. And each morning, he smiles, understanding something profound about the nature of attachment, the beauty of impermanence, and the peace that comes when we stop fighting the natural rhythm of holding and releasing, loving and letting go. The incense smoke curls upward in the meditation hall, carrying with it the whispered hopes and heartaches of countless souls who have sat in silence, asking the same eternal question. How do I love without suffering? How do I open my heart without breaking it? Tonight, wrapped in the gentle darkness that invites reflection, we'll discover that the answer lies not in loving less, but in understanding the very nature of love itself. We'll learn that suffering in relationships is not a sign that we're doing something wrong, but rather a sacred invitation to awaken to something deeper, truer, more beautiful than we ever imagined possible. So settle in, dear listener. Let your breathing slow and deepen. Feel your body relaxing into this moment, this breath, this gentle exploration of the heart's greatest mystery. The path we walk tonight is soft beneath our feet, lit by moonlight and ancient wisdom, leading us toward understanding that can transform not just how we love, but how we live. Asterisk, asterisk, what is the sound of a heart breaking? Is it sharp like the crack of winter ice, or soft like petals falling to earth? And if we listened very closely, with the ears of compassion rather than judgment, what would we discover in that sound? In the silence before dawn, when the world holds its breath between sleeping and waking, a question drifts through the darkness like morning mist rising from a still lake. If love is our natural state, our Buddha nature expressing itself through connection, then why does it so often feel like walking barefoot across broken glass? Imagine standing at the edge of a mountain lake at first light. The water is so still, it mirrors the sky perfectly, creating a world where heaven and earth become one seamless reflection. This is love in its purest form, complete, undisturbed, whole. But then, a single pebble of expectation drops into the water. Ripples spread outward, distorting the perfect reflection. The mountain becomes fragmented, the sky breaks apart, and suddenly there are two worlds again, the real and the reflected, the lover and the beloved, the one who needs and the one who is needed. In this moment of disturbance, in this first ripple of wanting something from love rather than simply being love, suffering is born. Not because love itself is painful, but because we've forgotten how to be the still lake. We've forgotten that we are both the water and the reflection, both the lover and the beloved, both the question and the answer. A Zen master once sat in meditation for 7 days and 7 nights, contemplating the nature of human longing. When he finally opened his eyes, a student asked him what he had discovered. The master smiled and pointed to a spider's web glistening with morning dew in the corner of the meditation hall. Each droplet, he whispered, thinks it needs the others to be complete. But see how each one already contains the entire sky? This is the first gentle mystery we must hold in our hearts tonight. We suffer in relationships not because we love, but because we have forgotten that love is not something we get or give. It is something we are. When we try to possess love, to hold it, to make it permanent, we're like that cherry blossom petal clinging to the branch, creating tension where there could be flow, fear where there could be trust, suffering where there could be joy. But what does it mean to love without? Grasping? How do we open our hearts fully while holding them lightly? These questions float in the night air around us like fireflies, each one a small illumination in the darkness of not knowing. The Buddha, sitting beneath the Bodhi tree 2,500 years ago, understood something profound about human attachment. He saw that our suffering comes not from loving, but from our desperate attempts to make the impermanent permanent, to make the flowing still, to make the dance into a statue. Picture a river flowing through a mountain valley. Its water is always moving, always changing, yet the river itself is constant. It doesn't grasp at the water that flows through it, doesn't try to hold back the spring floods or prevent the summer droughts. It simply flows, adapting its course around rocks and fallen trees, always moving toward the sea with a trust so deep it needs no words. This is how love wants to move through us, like water through a riverbed, shaping us and being shaped by us, but never stopping, never stagnating, never turning into something solid and possessible. When we try to dam the river of love, to control its flow and direction, we create pressure that eventually must find release. And that release, that overflow, often feels like the breaking of our hearts. But perhaps, in the gentle darkness of this night, we can consider a different possibility. Perhaps what we call heartbreak is really heartbreak open. Perhaps what feels like ending is actually beginning. Perhaps what seems like loss is really liberation from the exhausting work of trying to make permanent what was always meant to be in motion. As the night deepens around us and our breathing slows, we can rest. In this question, like a meditation cushion, what if the very impermanence that frightens us is also what makes love possible? What if the fact that nothing lasts forever is exactly what allows each moment of connection to be precious, sacred, worthy of our complete presence? The moon above us neither tries to hold on to its light nor fears its eventual setting. It simply shines fully present to this moment, this phase, this particular way of being illuminated. And in its gentle example, we begin to glimpse a way of loving that is both completely committed and completely free. Asterisk, asterisk, in the soft candlelight of ancient monasteries, where wisdom has been whispered from teacher to student for over 2,000 years, there lives a teaching so gentle yet profound that it can transform how we understand every relationship we've ever known. The Buddha called it tanha, the thirst that creates suffering. But tonight, as we rest in the embrace of darkness, let us explore this teaching, not as doctrine, but as medicine for the heart. Imagine, if you will, a traveler walking through the desert at twilight. The horizon shimmers with the promise of an oasis, palm trees swaying, clear water reflecting the stars. The traveler's heart fills with desperate longing, and she runs toward this vision of relief, of fulfillment, of everything she believes she needs. But as she draws closer, the oasis dissolves into mist, revealed as a mirage born of her own thirst. The Buddha, taught with infinite compassion, is how we often approach love. We see in another person the oasis that will quench our deepest thirst for connection, for completion, for an end to the loneliness that sometimes echoes in the chambers of our hearts. And in our rush toward this beautiful mirage, we create the very suffering we're trying to escape. But the teaching doesn't end there. Like moonlight cutting through clouds to illuminate a path we hadn't seen before. The Buddha's insight was not that we should stop being thirsty. Thirst is natural, even sacred. The insight was that the oasis we seek has always been within us. We are not travelers dying of thirst in a desert. We are the very source of the water we seek. In the Majjhima Nikaya, one of the ancient collections of Buddhist teachings, there is a parable about two arrows. When we experience pain in relationship, betrayal, rejection, the ending of love, we are struck by the first arrow. This is natural, unavoidable, part of being human with an open heart. But then, the Buddha observed with the tenderness of a mother watching her child learn to walk. We often shoot ourselves with a second arrow. Our resistance to the pain, our stories about what the pain means, our demands that love should be different than it is. Asterisk. The first arrow might say, this relationship is ending, and I feel sad. The second arrow whispers, I'm not worthy of love, or I'll never find anyone else, or this shouldn't be happening. The first arrow is life. The second arrow is suffering. Tonight, as we breathe together in this gentle darkness, we can practice the radical compassion of removing that second arrow. We can learn to feel the natural pain of loving without adding the unnecessary suffering of resistance. Like a skilled physician of the heart, we can tend to the wound without deepening it with our judgments and fears. There's another teaching that drifts to us across the centuries like incense on an evening breeze. In the Lotus Sutra, love is described not as a feeling we have, but as our very nature expressing itself. Like the sun that shines not because it chooses to, but because shining is what suns do. We love not because we're trying to get something, but because loving is what awakened hearts do. This understanding changes everything. If love is our nature, rather than our need, then we can love freely, without the desperate clutching that turns the flower of relationship into a closed fist. We can offer our love like morning dew, freely given, asking nothing in return, beautiful in its very impermanence. The ancient masters understood that attachment, what they called apadana, is like trying to capture running water in our cupped hands. The tighter we squeeze, the more quickly it slips away. But if we hold our hands open, relaxed, the water can pool there briefly, blessing us with its coolness before flowing on to bless others. In the Zen tradition, there's a beautiful concept called letting go with love. It's the art of caring deeply while holding lightly, of being fully present to relationship while remaining unattached to its form or duration. Like a master gardener who tends each flower with equal care, knowing that some will bloom for days and others for seasons, we can love each person who enters our life with complete dedication while honoring the natural cycles of coming and going. The Heart Sutra, chanted in temples around the world as the sun sets each evening, offers perhaps the most radical teaching of all. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Applied to relationship, this means that the person we love is both absolutely real and absolutely impermanent, both completely themselves and completely connected to everything else, both separate enough to love and unified enough to never truly lose. When we truly understand this teaching, not just intellectually, but in the marrow of our bones, something miraculous happens. We stop trying to possess our beloved and start celebrating them. We stop demanding that they complete us and start appreciating how they complement us. We stop fearing the end of relationship and start treasuring each moment of connection as the unrepeatable gift it is. As the night deepens around us and our bodies settle into rest, We can hold these ancient teachings like smooth stones worn gentle by centuries of wisdom. They're not rules to follow, but invitations to remember what we've always known in our deepest heart. That love is not something we have, but something we are. Not something we get, but something we give. Not something we keep, but something we share. The Buddha's final teaching, whispered to his students as he prepared to leave his body, was simply this: work out your salvation with diligence. But perhaps on this quiet night, we can hear in those words a gentler invitation. Love with diligence, not the desperate diligence of grasping, but the patient diligence of presence, the tender diligence of letting go, the faithful diligence of trusting that love itself will show you the way. Asterisk, in a monastery nestled among mountain peaks, where clouds caught on temple roofs like prayers made visible, there lived a monk named Fichmin An, whose heart had once been broken so thoroughly that he thought it would never heal. Before taking his vows, he had loved a woman with the fierce intensity of youth, believing she was his other half, his completion, his very reason for being. Their love story unfolded like a flower opening to morning sun, beautiful, passionate, all-consuming. They made promises beneath star-scattered skies, carved their names in tree bark, spoke of growing old together while watching their children play in gardens they would plant with their own hands. But as autumn arrives, even in the most perfect spring, their love began to change, to shift, to reveal itself as something more complex than their young hearts had imagined. She met someone else, not because their love had been false, but because love itself is like wind, moving where it will, blessing first one field and then another. The young man who would become Fichmin An felt his world collapse like a house of paper in rain. The pain was so intense he couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't imagine a tomorrow that held anything but endless sorrow. For months, he carried his broken heart like a physical wound, pressing his hand to his chest as if to hold the pieces together. He raged at the unfairness of love, at the cruelty of impermanence, at a universe that could allow such beautiful connections to dissolve like morning mist. He built walls around his heart, swearing never to love again, never to risk such devastation. It was in this state, hollow, angry, convinced that love was nothing but elaborate self-deception, that he first encountered the Dharma. An old monk, visiting the village market where the young man worked selling rice and vegetables, noticed the profound sadness that clung to him like winter fog. Without saying a word about romance or heartbreak, the monk simply invited him to sit in meditation. "Come," the old monk said with eyes that held the depths of mountain lakes. "Learn to befriend your own heart." For weeks, the young man resisted. What could sitting quietly possibly offer to someone whose world had shuddered? But the monk's presence was like a steady flame in darkness, warm without being demanding, bright without being harsh. Eventually, more from desperation than hope, the young man agreed to learn meditation. On a cushion in a simple room where incense curled toward heaven and silence felt like a living presence, he began to turn his attention inward. At first, all he found was pain wave after wave of grief, anger, loneliness, and self-pity. But the old monk taught him something revolutionary. Instead of running from these feelings or fighting them, he could simply observe them with the same gentle attention he might give to clouds passing across the sky. Feelings, the monk whispered in the candlelit darkness of those first meditation sessions, are like weather in the heart. Storms come and go, but the sky itself remains unchanged. You are not the storm, dear friend. You are the sky. Slowly, over months of practice, something miraculous began to happen. As the young man learned to sit with his pain without trying to fix it or push it away, he began to discover that beneath the heartbreak lay something unexpected, a vast capacity for love that had nothing to do with getting love in return. He realized that his suffering had come not from loving his former partner, but from believing that his love was somehow dependent on hers. He had confused love with attachment, presence, with possession, connection with control. In losing her, he had thought he was losing love itself. But sitting in the silence of his own heart, he discovered that love was not something he could lose, because it was not something he had ever possessed. It was something he was. Years passed. The young man took vows, becoming Thich Min An, and then his understanding of love deepened like roots growing into rich soil. He learned to love his fellow monks with no need for special recognition, to love the villagers who came seeking counsel with no expectation of gratitude, to love even the memory of his former beloved with no bitterness, no clinging, no regret. One evening, as cherry blossoms fell like snow outside the meditation hall, a younger monk approached him with tears in his eyes. "Master," the young monk whispered, "my heart is breaking. The woman I love has chosen another path, and I don't know how to bear this pain." Thich Min An looked at his student with eyes that held both infinite compassion and profound peace. He gestured to the falling petals outside the window, each one perfect in its brief dance toward earth. "Do you see how the cherry tree weeps?" he asked gently. "Each spring, it offers its flowers completely, holding nothing back. Each petal falls when its time comes, and the tree does not chase after them or demand they return. Yet see how beautiful. The tree remains, how ready it is to bloom again when the season is right." The young monk's tears fell like the petals, but now they carried both grief and recognition. "Your heart," Thich Min An continued, his voice soft as silk in candlelight, "is not broken, dear friend. It is breaking open. The pain you feel is love expanding, making room for a deeper understanding, a wider compassion, a more unconditional way of caring. Let it break you open. Let it teach you that you are not the smallness of your need, but the vastness of your capacity to love." They sat together in silence as darkness settled around the monastery like a gentle blessing. Outside, the cherry blossoms continued their ancient dance of letting go, each petal a small teaching in the art of loving without grasping, caring without controlling, opening without demanding that what we love remain forever in the form we first encountered it. That night, as the young monk slept more peacefully than he had in months, Thich Min An sat in meditation until dawn, his heart full of gratitude for the long ago heartbreak that had shattered his small understanding of love and revealed the boundless love that was his true nature. He had learned that the heart doesn't break, it breaks open again and again, making room for more love, not less. **** now, as the night wraps around us like the softest blanket, woven from starlight and silence, we turn our gentle attention inward, following the breath like a golden thread leading us home to ourselves. With each inhalation, we breathe in the vast spaciousness of awareness. With each exhalation, we release the need to hold on to anything at all. Close your eyes, if they aren't already closed, and feel your body settling deeper into rest. Notice how your shoulders soften as you let go of the day's small burdens. Feel your jaw relax, your forehead smooth like still water under moonlight. This body that carries you through the world is also your first teacher in the art of letting go with every breath. It demonstrates the sacred rhythm of receiving and releasing, holding and surrendering. In the Buddhist understanding, the journey inward is not an escape from relationship, but a return to the source from which all authentic relationship flows. Like a mountain spring that bubbles up from deep underground, our capacity to love without suffering emerges from the depths of our own being, from the place where we remember who we were before we learned to be afraid of lost. As you breathe. In this moment, imagine that you are floating gently downstream on a river of awareness. The banks of this inner river are lined with the stories you've told yourself about love, who you are when you're loving, who you become when you're loved, what you need from others to feel complete. Let these stories drift by like fallen leaves on the water's surface, beautiful in their way, but not the river itself. The Buddha taught that beneath all our stories about needing love, being worthy of love, or finding the right love, there exists what he called our Buddha nature, the luminous awareness that is our deepest essence. This awareness is not lonely because it is connected to everything. It is not lacking because it is whole unto itself. It is not afraid of loss because it knows itself to be the space in which all experience arises and passes away. With each breath, you can sink more deeply into this awareness, this inner Buddha nature that has never been hurt by relationship because it has never been separate from anything. Feel how your breath moves in and out without effort, how your heart beats without your conscious direction, how awareness itself simply witnesses the flow of thoughts and feelings without being disturbed by them. This is the secret the ancient masters discovered in their deepest meditations. We suffer in relationship not because we are broken beings who need others to fix us, but because we have forgotten that we are already whole. We are like people who spend their lives searching for their glasses while wearing them, looking everywhere for the love that is already the very substance of our being. In the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, there is a beautiful meditation called Tonglen, giving and receiving. As you rest here in the gentle darkness, you can practice a simple version of this ancient art. On your next inhalation, breathe in the pain of all beings who are suffering in relationship right now, the lonely, the heartbroken, the betrayed, the abandoned. Don't try to fix their pain, just receive it with the same spacious compassion that a mountain receives snow. Now, on your exhalation, breathe out relief, peace, understanding, love. Send to all these suffering beings the very medicine you most long to receive. Feel how, in this simple practice, the boundaries between self and other begin to dissolve, how your own heart's pain transforms into a doorway of compassion for all beings who have ever loved and suffered. This is the paradox the mystics have always known. The more deeply we journey into ourselves, the more we discover that there is no separate self to journey into. There is only this vast, interconnected web of being, this dance of consciousness playing at relationship while never actually being divided from itself. As you float deeper into this inner space, notice how peaceful it feels to rest in the part of you that has never been in relationship and never been out of relationship, because it is the very ground from which all relationship arises. This is the part of you that loved before you knew how to love and will continue loving after every particular relationship has transformed into memory. In Zen, they speak of the original face, the face you wore before your parents were born. As you sink into the silence between breaths, into the stillness between thoughts, you might catch a glimpse of this original face. It is neither male nor female, neither young nor old, neither loved nor unloved. It is the pure awareness that watches all the dramas of relationship with the same equanimity that space holds both storms and sunshine. From this place of inner stillness, all the questions that torment us in relationship begin to answer themselves. Am I lovable? Becomes irrelevant when you realize you are love itself. Will this relationship last? Loses its urgency when you understand that what you really are never began and will never end. How can I find someone who completes me? Dissolves into laughter when you discover your own completeness. This is not a cold or distant realization, but the warmest possible understanding. Like the sun that shines equally on all beings, not from effort, but from its essential nature, you can love from this place of inner fullness without needing love to fill an imagined emptiness. You can give your heart completely while knowing that your heart can never actually be given away, because it is the very space in which all giving and receiving occurs. Breathe in this understanding now, letting it settle into your bones like warmth from an inner fire. You are not a person who sometimes loves and sometimes doesn't love. You are not a being who is sometimes connected and sometimes alone. You are the love itself, temporarily focused into this particular form, playing at relationship like sunlight, dancing on water, never separate from the source, never truly able to be lost out in the archives of ancient monasteries, where manuscripts yellow with age hold secrets that could transform how we understand the nature of human connection. There exists teachings so subtle, so surprising, that they're often overlooked by those seeking dramatic revelations. Tonight, as we rest in the gentle embrace of darkness, let us explore these hidden jewels of wisdom, these quiet truths that slip into the heart like moonlight through half-opened windows. There is a story, passed down through generations of Buddhist teachers, about a monk who spent 30 years seeking enlightenment through the most rigorous spiritual practices. He meditated for hours each day, studied every sacred text, followed every precept with perfect dedication. Yet still, he felt separate from the awakening he sought so desperately. One evening, exhausted by decades of spiritual striving, he sat by a mountain stream and wept. "I have given everything to the Dharma," he whispered to the flowing water, "but I still feel like a beginner, still feel lost, still feel separate from the peace I seek." As his tears fell into the stream, an old woman appeared on the opposite bank, washing vegetables for her evening meal. She looked at the monk with eyes that held the depth of mountain lakes and asked simply, "Why are you crying, dear one?" Monk poured out his story, the years of practice, the persistent sense of separation, the growing fear that he would never find what he sought. The woman listened with the same gentle attention she gave to washing her radishes, nodding occasionally but saying nothing. When the monk finished his tale of spiritual seeking, the old woman held up a perfectly clean radish and asked, "Do you see how I wash these vegetables? I don't scrub them to make them become radishes. They already are radishes. I simply remove what doesn't belong so their natural radishness can shine through." The monk stared at her, something stirring in the depths of his understanding. "Your Buddha nature," the woman continued with a smile that seemed to hold all the warmth of summer afternoons, "is like this radish. You cannot create it through practice. It already is. You can only remove what obscures it, the stories, the seeking, the belief that you are separate from what you seek." In that moment, the monk understood something that 30 years of intensive practice had not revealed. Enlightenment is not an achievement, but a recognition, not a becoming, but a remembering, not a gaining, but a revealing of what was always already there. This hidden truth applies directly to our suffering in relationships. We exhaust ourselves trying to become worthy of love, trying to perfect ourselves so we can finally deserve the connection we crave. But what if, like the radish, we already are what we seek to become? What if our lovability is not something we earn, but something we are? Another secret teaching comes from the Zen tradition, from a master who answered every question about relationship with the same response: "What is the color of Thursday?" When students pressed him to explain this seemingly nonsensical reply, he would simply smile and pour tea with the focused attention of someone performing a sacred ritual. Years later, one of his students finally understood. Love, like Thursday, doesn't have a color because it's not a thing that can be described or captured in concepts. Love is more like the background against which all colors appear, the invisible presence that makes all experience possible. We suffer in relationship when we try to paint love a particular color, when we insist it must look like our expectations, match our preferences, fulfill our conditions. But love itself is colorless, formless, infinite, not because it's empty, but because it's too full to be contained in any single expression. Your partner's way of loving is not the right way or the wrong way. It's Thursday's particular way of being Thursday, unique and unrepeatable and perfect in its very impossibility to be otherwise. Here's another gentle surprise hidden in the ancient teachings. The Buddha never actually taught that attachment causes suffering. What he taught was that Tanha, thirst or craving causes suffering. But thirst for what? Not for connection itself, but for connection to be permanent, unchanging, always available exactly as we want it. It's the difference between enjoying a beautiful sunset and demanding that the sun stop moving so the beauty never ends. The sunset itself doesn't cause suffering. Our insistence that it remain sunset forever is what creates the pain when inevitable darkness falls. This means we can love fully, attach completely, open our hearts without reservation, as long as we remember that we're enjoying a sunset, not trying to stop the sun. We can pour ourselves into relationship like water flowing downhill, natural and complete, while remembering that water's nature is to keep flowing, not to pool permanently in any one place. The Sufi mystics, those wild lovers of the divine, understood this secret so deeply that they made it the foundation of their entire spiritual path. They called it fana, the dissolving of the separate self into love itself. But here's the surprise. They discovered that the more completely they dissolved into love, the more individuated they became. The more they let go of defending their separate existence, the more uniquely and authentically themselves they were able to be. This is the paradox that haunts all profound relationship. We can only truly meet another person when we stop trying to preserve our separate existence. We can only be authentically ourselves when we stop defending who we think we are. We can only love completely when we stop trying to control love's expression. In the candlelit meditation halls, where these secrets were first whispered from teacher to student, they understood something that modern psychology is only beginning to rediscover. The heart that has learned to break open rather than break down is capable of loving with a freedom that looks like magic to those still trapped in the prison of needing love to be other than it is. As you rest here in the gentle darkness, breathing slowly and deeply, you can feel these hidden truths settling into your bones like warmth from an inner fire. You don't need to understand them fully. In fact, the rational mind can never grasp them completely. They are truths that must be felt rather than thought, lived rather than analyzed, discovered in the very marrow of your being, through the simple act of loving without condition, without guarantee, without the need for love to be anything other than exactly what it is in this moment. Asterisk, asterisk, as midnight approaches and the world settles into its deepest quiet, we find ourselves at the threshold of understanding something profound about the nature of suffering itself. Like archaeologists of the heart, we gently brush away the dust of assumption to reveal the ancient truth that has been waiting beneath our pain all along. Picture, if you will, a lotus flower blooming in the depths of a mountain pond. Its roots reach deep into the dark mud. At the bottom, the decomposed remains of countless other flowers, leaves, and life forms that have returned to earth. Without this rich darkness, without this foundation of what appears to be decay and death, the lotus could never push its way toward the surface, could never break through into sunlight, could never unfold its pristine petals in offering to the sky. This is the first mystery we must hold gently in our hearts. Tonight, our suffering in relationship is not evidence that something has gone wrong, but proof that something is trying to be born. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every moment when love doesn't meet our expectations is like the lotus root extending deeper into the transformative darkness, drawing nutrients from what we thought was simply loss. The Buddha, in his infinite compassion, never taught that we should avoid suffering. Instead, he offered us something far more revolutionary: the understanding that suffering is always optional, even when pain is inevitable. Pain is like the pressure a seed feels as it breaks open in the darkness of soil necessary for growth, natural, temporary. But suffering is what happens when we resist the breaking open, when we demand that the seed remain forever a seed, safe and intact and never vulnerable to the mystery of becoming. In relationships, this distinction changes everything. When someone we love pulls away, when they change in ways we didn't expect, when they choose a path that doesn't include us. We feel pain, and this pain is as natural as breathing, as valid as rainfall, as sacred as any other human experience. But then, like adding salt to fresh water, we pour suffering on top of the pain. This shouldn't be happening, we tell ourselves. If they really loved me, they wouldn't. I'll never find anyone who ... I must have done something wrong ... Can you feel the difference? Can you sense how the first is like weather passing through a clear sky, while the second is like grasping at clouds, trying to rearrange the atmosphere to match our preferences? Tonight, as your body relaxes deeper into rest, imagine that you are sitting beside that mountain pond where the lotus blooms. The water is so still, it reflects the stars perfectly, creating a second sky beneath the surface. This stillness is not the absence of movement. Fish still swim in the depths. Water still flows through hidden springs. Life continues its ancient dance. The stillness is the space in which all movement occurs, the unchanging awareness in which all change is held. This stillness is what the mystics called equanimity, not the cold indifference of someone who has stopped caring, but the warm spaciousness of someone who cares so deeply that they can hold both joy and sorrow, presence and absence, meeting and parting with equal grace. Equanimity is love that has learned to flow like water, taking the shape of whatever container it finds itself in, while never losing its essential nature. From this place of inner stillness, we begin to understand that peace is not the opposite of conflict, but the space in which conflict can arise and resolve without disturbing our deepest nature. A mother watches her child learn to walk, feeling both the joy of each successful step and the compassion for each inevitable fall, but never losing her fundamental peace because she understands that falling is part of walking, not evidence that walking is impossible. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, there is a teaching about the bardo, the space between death and rebirth, where consciousness hovers in a state of pure potential. But we don't have to die to experience this bardo. It exists in every moment of transition, including the small deaths and rebirths that happen constantly in relationship. When a relationship ends, we enter a bardo. When someone we love changes in ways that surprise us, we enter a bardo. When we ourselves grow beyond who we used to be in love, we enter a bardo. These in-between spaces feel uncomfortable because the mind prefers solid ground, clear definitions, predictable outcomes. But the bardo is where transformation becomes possible, where what seemed like ending reveals itself as beginning. The peace that passes understanding, what the Buddha called nirvana, is not a destination we reach after we've solved all our relationship problems. It's the recognition that we are already living in the space where all problems arise and resolve. The awareness that remains untouched, whether we're in love or out of love, together or apart, understood or misunderstood. This peace doesn't make us passive or indifferent. If anything, it makes us more capable of love, because we're no longer constantly distracted by the need to protect ourselves from the natural changes that love brings. We can give our hearts completely because we understand that what we truly are can never be lost. Even when particular relationships transform or end out, as you breathe in this moment, feel how each inhalation brings you fresh life, fresh possibility, fresh opportunity to love without condition. And feel how each exhalation releases not just the day's accumulated tension, but also the accumulated stories about how love should be, what relationships should provide, what you need from others to be okay. In this rhythm of breathing, you can discover the peace that is always available, not as a reward for spiritual achievement, but as the background music of existence itself, the silent song that plays beneath all the melodies of coming together and moving apart that make up the symphony of human connection. The lotus in the mountain pond doesn't bloom in spite of the darkness at its roots. It blooms because of it. And you, dear listener, don't find peace in spite of the challenges of loving. You find it in the very heart of love's complexity, in the very center of attachment's dissolution, in the very space where suffering transforms into compassion for all beings who have ever dared to open their hearts in this tender, temporary, utterly beautiful world. In the pre-dawn darkness of a monastery garden, where dew clings to spider webs like diamonds suspended in starlight, an old gardener tends to his flowers with the patience of someone who has learned one of life's most precious secrets. The art of letting go is not about pushing away, but about relaxing the grip. As we rest together in this gentle night, breathing slowly and deeply, we can learn from this ancient gardener the true meaning of release. Letting go, in the Buddhist understanding, is not about becoming cold or distant or pretending we don't care. It's not about building walls around the heart or numbing ourselves to love's inevitable changes. True letting go is like the way a mother bird eventually opens her wings and allows the wind to carry her offspring into their first flight, not because she loves them less, but because she loves them enough to trust the greater wisdom of their becoming. Imagine holding a butterfly that has just landed on your open palm. Its wings are gossamer thin, painted with colors that seem too beautiful for this world. You feel the tiny tickle of its feet against your skin, the impossible lightness of its being. How do you hold such a creature? If you close your fist to keep it safe, you crush it. If you try to cup it to prevent its leaving, you create a prison. The only way to truly hold a butterfly is to keep your hand open, to receive its presence as a gift while remaining ready for its departure. This is how the awakened heart learns to hold relationship with complete presence and complete freedom, with total commitment and total non-attachment. It sounds like a paradox to the mind that thinks in terms of either or, but to the heart that has learned to dance with mystery, it's as natural as breathing. In the Zen tradition, there's a beautiful phrase, passionate detachment. It describes the way a master swordsman moves in combat, completely engaged, every cell alive with attention, yet fluid as water, ready to change direction in an instant. There's no holding back, no reservation, no protection against the intensity of the moment. But there's also no rigidity, no insistence that the encounter unfold in any particular way. This is how we can love with passionate detachment. We pour ourselves completely into the relationship, holding nothing in reserve, loving with the totality of our being. But we remain fluid, adaptable, ready to dance with whatever changes love brings. We commit ourselves fully to the process of loving while releasing our attachment to any particular outcome. As you lie here in the soft darkness, feeling your body sink deeper into rest, you can practice this gentle art of letting go with each breath. Notice how your lungs don't grasp at the air they receive. They welcome each inhalation completely, extract what nourishes, then release the breath just as completely, making space for the next gift of oxygen. There's no hoarding, no fear that the next breath won't come, no attempt to make any single breath permanent. Your heart can learn this same rhythm with love. Receive each moment of connection fully. Extract the nourishment it offers, then release it completely to make space for whatever wants to come next. This doesn't mean loving less. It means loving with the wisdom of your own breathing, trusting the natural rhythm of receiving and releasing that keeps you alive. But what does letting go actually feel like in the body? Often, we think of it as a mental process, something we do with our thoughts. But true letting go happens first in the nervous system, in the deep places where we hold the contractions of fear, the tension of control, the tight grip of mind. As you breathe now, scan gently through your body. Where are you holding on? Perhaps there's tension in your jaw from all the words you wanted to say but couldn't. Maybe your shoulders carry the weight of trying to hold relationships together through sheer effort. Your heart might feel guarded, protected by layers of muscle that learn to armor themselves against disappointment. With each exhalation, let these contractions soften. Not through forcing relaxation is just another form of grasping, but through the gentle invitation of your breath. Let your jaw soften like ice melting in spring sunshine. Let your shoulders drop like leaves falling from a tree when their time comes. Let your heart space expand like a flower opening to morning light. This physical letting go mirrors the emotional release that allows love to flow freely. When we hold our bodies tightly, we're practicing attachment. When we allow our bodies to be fluid and responsive, we're practicing non-attachment. The body teaches the heart, and the heart teaches the mind, until letting go becomes as natural as the tide releasing its hold on the shore twice each day. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu writes about the power of water, how it's soft enough to caress a flower petal, yet strong enough to carve canyons through stone. Water's power comes from its willingness to let go constantly, to keep moving, to never insist on maintaining any particular form. It flows around obstacles rather than fighting them, always seeking the lowest place, the path of least resistance. This is the secret of loving without suffering. Become like water in relationship. Flow around your beloved's moods rather than demanding they be different. Seek the lowest place, the place of humility, service, compassion, rather than trying to be right or in control. Be soft enough to receive their vulnerabilities and strong enough to love them through their changes. When water encounters a rock, it doesn't break itself against the stone or demand that the rock move. It simply finds another path, perhaps flowing underground for a while, trusting that it will eventually find its way back to the surface, back to the light, back to the sea that is its true home. Sometimes, in relationship, we too must go underground for a while. When the surface path is blocked by conflict or misunderstanding, we can let our love flow through deeper chan LC through patience, through forgiveness, through the underground rivers of compassion that connect all hearts. We trust that love, like water, always finds a way. The gardener in the monastery knows that letting go is not a one-time event, but a daily practice, like tending flowers. Each morning, he releases his grip on how he thinks the garden should look and opens himself to what wants to grow. He plants seeds without demanding that they bloom. He waters without insisting on immediate results. He trusts the deeper intelligence of life itself to know when it's time for flowering and when it's time for rest. As sleep approaches and your breathing grows even slower and deeper, you can rest in this trust. Your relationships, like the flowers in the monastery garden, have their own seasons, their own timing, their own wisdom. Your job is not to control their unfolding, but to tend them with love, to water them with presence, and to trust that whatever grows from such tending will be exactly what was meant to be. In the deepest hour of night, when the veil between sleeping and waking grows thin as silk, we arrive at perhaps the most profound question the human heart can ask. What does it mean to truly awaken? Not just to open our eyes in the morning, but to awaken from the dream of separation that makes love feel like a desperate reaching across an impossible void. Picture a child who has fallen asleep while playing hide and seek, who dreams all night that she is lost in an endless forest, calling out for friends who cannot hear her, growing more and more frightened with each passing hour. Then morning comes. Her mother's gentle touch brings her back to consciousness, and she realizes with a flood of relief that she was never lost at all. She was safe in her own bed, surrounded by love the whole time. This is the nature of awakening in relationship. We dream we are separate beings desperately seeking connection, and we suffer in that dream of separation. But awakening reveals that we were never separate to begin with. We are love itself, temporarily forgetting its own nature, playing at the beautiful game of finding itself in the mirror of relationship. The Buddha's awakening beneath the Bodhi tree was not the acquisition of some special knowledge or power. It was the dropping away of the illusion that there was a Buddha separate from the rest of existence who could possess awakening. What remained was simply awakeness itself, consciousness, recognizing its own fundamental nature. Like space, discovering it has no boundaries. In the context of relationship, awakening means recognizing that the love we seek from others is the same love we are made of. The connection we crave is already present. We are not separate islands of consciousness, occasionally building bridges to each other. We are waves in the same ocean, each temporarily expressing the water's infinite creativity while never actually being apart from the source. This recognition changes everything about how we experience relationship. Instead of two people trying to get something from each other, we become one love expressing itself through two forms, dancing with itself, playing at the delicious game of separation and reunion. The lover and the beloved reveal themselves to be different faces of the same mystery. Asterisk. As you rest here in the gentle darkness, breathing slowly and naturally, you can sense this truth in your own being. Notice how, when you're not thinking about yourself as separate from this moment, there's no one here to be lonely, no one who needs love from someone else, no one who can be abandoned or rejected. There's just pure experiencing the soft darkness, a rhythm of breath, the feeling of consciousness resting in itself like a cat curled in a patch of sunlight. Asterisk. This is your awakened nature, always available, never actually lost, even when you dream you're lost. It's the part of you that watches all the dramas of relationship with the same equanimity that space holds, both storms and clear skies present to everything, attached to nothing, threatened by no change, because it is the unchanging within which all change occurs. From this awakened perspective, we understand that every relationship challenge is actually an invitation to go deeper into recognition of what we are. When someone disappoints us, it's an opportunity to discover the part of us that cannot be disappointed. When someone leaves us, it's a chance to find the part of us that cannot be left. When someone fails to love us the way we think we need to be loved, it's an invitation to discover that we are the love we've been seeking. In the Advaita Vedanta tradition, they speak of Sahaja Samadhi, the natural state of enlightenment that doesn't come and go, but is simply the background of all experience. It's not a special state we achieve through meditation or spiritual practice, but our ordinary awareness when it's not clouded by the story of being a separate self. You can taste this natural awakening right now without having to change anything about your current experience. Simply notice the awareness that is aware of your thoughts about relationship. Notice the consciousness that is conscious of your feelings about love. Notice the space in which all your experiences of connection and separation arise and pass away. This noticing awareness, this pure witnessing presence, has never been in relationship and never been out of relationship, because it is the ground from which all relationship arises. It's like the screen on which movies play equally present, whether the movie is a romance or a tragedy, completely intimate with every scene, while remaining completely unaffected by the drama. When we live from this awakened awareness, relationship becomes a celebration rather than a negotiation. We love not because we need something from the other person, but because loving is what awareness does when it recognizes itself in another form. We connect not to fill an emptiness, but to enjoy. The play of consciousness pretending to be two while knowing itself to be one. This doesn't make us passive or detached. If anything, awakening makes us more passionately engaged with life, because we're no longer spending energy trying to protect a separate self that was never real to begin with. We can love with complete abandon, because we understand that what we truly are is indestructible, not because it's strong, but because it was never actually formed, and therefore cannot be broken. In the Zen tradition, they sometimes describe awakening as the bottom falling out of the bucket. For years, we carry around this bucket of identity, trying to fill it with experiences of love validation, security, meaning. We work so hard to patch every hole, to keep our precious contents from leaking out. Then one day, the bottom simply falls away, and we discover that we are not the bucket, we are the water that was never actually contained. That is already connected to every river and ocean that was always free. The mystic poet Hafez captured this beautifully when he wrote, "I wish I could show you, when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. This light is not something you develop or earn, it's what you are. It shines equally when you're loved and when you're alone, when relationships flourish and when they fade, when you feel connected and when you feel lost. As sleep approaches and your consciousness begins to dissolve into the larger mystery of rest, you can feel this light of your own being. It's not bright in a harsh way, but gentle like moonlight, illuminating everything with equal tenderness. It shines on every moment of your relationship history, the good times and the difficult times, the meetings and the partings, the love given and the love received with the same soft radiance. This is the awakened heart, not a heart that has transcended relationship, but a heart that has recognized itself as the source from which all relationship flows. It loves like the sun, shines not because it has to, or because it gets something in return, but because shining is its nature. And just as the sun is not diminished by sharing its light with countless planets, your awakened heart is not diminished by loving countless beings in countless ways. Asterisk, asterisk, as the night reaches its deepest point, where silence becomes so complete, it seems to have weight and substance. We come to rest in the most profound teaching the awakened masters ever discovered, that beneath all the movement of relationship, the coming together and growing apart, the passion and the conflict, the words spoken and unspoken, there exists a stillness so fundamental that it is the very ground of being itself. This stillness is not the absence of movement, like a pond frozen in winter. It is the presence within which all movement occurs. Like the vast sky that remains unchanged whether it holds storm clouds or sunshine, migrating birds or falling snow. In the deepest teachings of Buddhism, this stillness is called sanyata, often translated as emptiness, but pointing to something far more alive and pregnant with possibility than the word emptiness. Suggests that imagine sitting in a cathedral just before dawn, when the first light begins to filter through stained glass windows. The air is so quiet you can hear your own heartbeat, so still that the slightest sound of footstep, a whispered prayer, the rustle of fabric seems to emerge from silence itself and return to silence. This cathedral silence is not empty. It's full of potential, pregnant with every prayer that has ever been offered within these walls, every heart that has ever opened to mystery within this sacred space. This is the stillness that lives at the heart of all relationship. It's the pause between words when two people really see each other. It's the space between breaths when lovers lie intertwined in darkness. It's the eternal moment that exists in the center of every kiss, every argument, every goodbye, a moment so vast that time stops and all of eternity is revealed in a single heartbeat dot. As you rest here in the gentle darkness of your own being, you can feel this stillness. It's not something you have to create or achieve. It's what remains when you stop trying to create or achieve anything. It's the natural state of consciousness when it's not busy telling stories about itself, when awareness simply rests in its own transparent nature, like clear water in a mountain pool. This stillness is why the ancient sages could love so completely, without suffering. They had discovered that beneath all the waves of emotion, beneath all the storms of attachment and loss, there exists an ocean of being so deep and vast that no surface disturbance can touch its depths. They learned to love from this depth, to offer their hearts from this unshakable ground. When we love from stillness, we become like tuning forks that vibrate at the frequency of peace itself. Others feel this frequency in our presence and begin to remember their own innate stillness. We don't have to teach or preach or try to fix anyone. We simply embody the possibility of loving without desperation, of caring without grasping, of opening without defending. In the Tibetan understanding, this stillness is called Rigpa, the natural awareness. It is our deepest essence. Rigpa is never disturbed by the content of experience, just as a mirror is never stained by what it reflects. A mirror can show a beautiful garden or a garbage dump with equal clarity. It remains unstained by either beauty or ugliness. Similarly, our deepest awareness can witness the full spectrum of relationship experience, joy and sorrow, connection and separation, love and loss, without being fundamentally disturbed. This is not indifference or detachment in the cold sense. It's the warmest possible embrace of all experience, the most intimate possible relationship with life. It's like being the sky that holds both rainbows and thunderstorms with equal spaciousness, equal love. The sky doesn't prefer sunshine to rain. It provides the perfect space for whatever weather wants to arise. As your breathing slows and deepens, as your body settles into even greater rest, you can feel yourself dissolving into this sky-like awareness. Feel how your thoughts about relationship, all your hopes and fears, all your stories about love and loss arise like clouds in the vast space of your being. Some clouds are beautiful, some are stormy, but the sky itself remains forever clear, forever peaceful, forever unchanged. From this place of inner stillness, we understand something that completely transforms how we experience relationship. Every person we encounter is also this same stillness, temporarily playing at being a separate someone. The one who loves us and the one who rejects us, the one who understands us and the one who misunderstands us, all are expressions of the same fundamental awareness, the same basic goodness, the same Buddha nature that we are. This recognition brings such tenderness to the heart. It's like recognizing actors on a stage who are so committed to their roles that they've forgotten they're all part of the same theater company. We can enjoy the drama, appreciate the skill of the performance, even feel moved by the story. Wow. Remembering that beneath all the costumes and masks, we're all the same essential being, temporarily playing at separation for the joy of eventual reunion. In the deepest Zen teachings, they say that form is emptiness and emptiness is form, not as a philosophical concept, but as a living reality you can taste in this moment. Your beloved's particular form, their body, their personality, their way of loving is emptiness temporarily taking shape, like a wave on the ocean or a melody in silence. And you, the one loving them, are also this same emptiness, this same stillness, expressing itself through your unique form. When we really understand this, really feel it in our bones, something extraordinary happens. We stop trying to make relationship work and start allowing relationship to flow. We stop demanding that love look a certain way and start appreciating the countless ways love expresses itself through the play of form and emptiness, stillness and movement, connection and space. This is why stillness is the deepest truth of all. It's not separate from the movement of relationship, but is the very source from which all relationship arises. It's not opposed to passion, but is passion's deepest nature. It's not distant from love, but is love's most intimate secret, that love is not something that happens between two people, but something that two people happen within. As you sink deeper into the approaching embrace of sleep, rest in this knowing. You are not a person who sometimes experiences stillness. You are stillness itself, temporarily dreaming you are a person. You are not someone who seeks love from others. You are love itself, playing at the beautiful game of seeking and finding yourself in countless forms. In this recognition, all the suffering of relationship dissolves like salt in water, not because the challenges disappear, but because you remember that you are the water, not the salt. You are the stillness, not the movement. You are the love, not the one seeking love. And from this remembering, every relationship becomes a celebration, every encounter a homecoming, every moment of connection a recognition of what you have always been and will always be. Asterisk, asterisk, as the deepest part of night cradles us in its velvet embrace, we approach the ultimate paradox that has puzzled seekers for millennia. What does it mean to be truly free in relationship? How can we love with complete commitment while remaining completely liberated? Tonight, as consciousness prepares to release itself into the mystery of sleep, we explore this most delicate of spiritual territories. Freedom, in the deepest spiritual sense, is not the ability to do whatever we want or to avoid responsibility for our choices. True freedom is more like the freedom of water, not free from gravity, but free to respond to gravity with perfect fluidity, finding the most natural path, the most effortless flow. Water is never fighting gravity. It dances with it, partnering with the very force that shapes its movement. In relationship, this means we're not free from love. We're free to love completely, without the resistance that comes from fearing loss, without the tension that comes from trying to control outcomes, without the exhaustion that comes from defending against change. We're free to flow with love's natural intelligence, trusting its currents even when we can't see where they're leading. Imagine a master calligrapher creating a piece of art. The brush is completely committed to the paper, pressing ink into fiber with focused intention. But the brush is also completely free to move in any direction the artist's wisdom guides it, free to vary the pressure, free to dance across the page with fluid grace. The commitment and the freedom are not in conflict. They create each other. This is how the awakened heart loves, with the brush's commitment and the brush's freedom completely present to the beloved, while remaining completely fluid in response to love's deeper intelligence. There's no holding back and no holding on, just the pure artistry of love expressing itself through form, while never being limited by form. As you breathe in this moment, feeling your body relaxed and open, you can sense this freedom in your own being. Notice how your breath is completely committed to keeping you alive, yet completely free to adjust its rhythm to match your needs. It doesn't anxiously grasp for the next breath or desperately cling to the last one. It flows with natural intelligence, trusting the deeper wisdom of your body to guide its dance. Your heart can learn this same rhythm with love, completely committed to loving, completely free in how that love expresses itself. Not attached to being loved in return, but committed to being a source of love regardless of response. Not demanding that love look a particular way, but free to appreciate all the ways love shows up, even when they're different from our expectations. In the Taoist tradition, they speak of Wu Wei, action that arises from non-action, effort that flows from effortlessness. It's like the way a tree grows, not by trying to grow, but by simply being so authentically itself that growth is inevitable. The tree doesn't stress about which direction to send its branches or worry about whether it's growing fast enough. It simply responds to light, water, and soil with its essential nature, and growth happens naturally. This is how we can love when we're truly free, not by trying to love or working to create good relationships, but by being so authentically ourselves. That love flows naturally from our being. We don't manipulate or strategize or perform. We simply respond to the light of consciousness, the water of compassion, and the soil of shared presence with our essential nature. But what liberates us into this freedom? What dissolves the bonds of attachment that make love feel like work instead of play? The answer lies in recognizing something so simple, it's often overlooked. We are already free. We have always been free. Our bondage exists only in the story we tell ourselves about needing something from relationship to be complete. The bird in the cage who discovers the door has always been open doesn't become free by learning to fly. It recognizes that its nature was never actually caged. The freedom was always present. It was hidden only by the belief in limitation. Similarly, our freedom to love without suffering doesn't come from acquiring new skills or insights. It comes from recognizing that the limitations we believed in were never real. This recognition often happens in a flash, like lightning illuminating a landscape that was always there. Suddenly, we see that we were never actually dependent on others for our well-being, never actually threatened by their choices, never actually capable of being abandoned, because what we truly are cannot be left behind. We are the space in which all relationships arise and dissolve, the awareness in which all coming and going occurs. From this recognition, an extraordinary freedom dawns. We can love purely for the joy of loving, without needing love to accomplish anything for us. We can give our hearts completely, because we understand that the heart cannot actually be given away. It can only be shared. And sharing increases rather than diminishes what we have to offer. In the Sufi tradition, they tell the story of a lover who spent years trying to find the door to the beloved's house. He knocked on every door in the city, searched every street, begged every passerby for directions. Finally, exhausted by his seeking, he sat down and wept. In that moment of complete surrender, he heard the beloved's voice, calling from within his own heart. The door you seek has always been open. You were looking for it everywhere, except where it actually exists. This is the door to freedom in relationship. It opens from within. We stop seeking completion from others and discover our own wholeness. We stop trying to be understood and start understanding. We stop demanding love and start being love. And in this turning inside, we find that we were never actually separate. From what we sought, we were always already connected, always already loved, always already free. As consciousness begins its nightly journey towards sleep, you can rest in this freedom. Feel how, in this moment, you need nothing from anyone to be perfectly okay. You don't need to be in relationship or out of relationship, understood or misunderstood, loved or unloved by others. You are complete unto yourself, lacking nothing, needing no external validation to confirm your worth. This doesn't make you independent in the cold sense of not caring about others. Instead, it makes you interdependent in the warmest sense, able to care deeply, precisely because you're not desperate, able to love generously precisely because you're not needy, able to connect authentically precisely because you're not trying to get anything from the connection. This is the vast mystery of being truly free. The more completely we recognize our independence from needing others to complete us, the more beautifully we can dance in the web of interdependence that connects all beings. The more we understand that we don't need relationship to be whole, the more we can appreciate relationship as a celebration of wholeness meeting wholeness. Love recognizing itself in infinite forms. In the deepest sanctuary of night, where even the stars seem to hold their breath in reverence, we turn our attention to the great teachers that surround us always, the rivers that show us how to flow, the stars that demonstrate how to shine without effort, the moonlight that reveals how to illuminate without claiming credit, and the mountains that embody how to love with unshakable presence. These are not mere metaphors, but living instructions in the art of loving without suffering. Listen, can you hear it? Somewhere in the distance, a river moves through darkness toward the sea. It carries within its current the dissolved minerals of mountains, the reflected light of stars, the whispered prayers of everyone who has ever knelt by its banks seeking wisdom. The river teaches us the most essential lesson about relationship: how to keep moving without forcing, how to stay true to our course while adapting to every obstacle, how to carry others' gifts without losing our essential nature. The river never worries about reaching the ocean. It trusts that moving toward the sea is its nature, and that nature will guide it home. Sometimes it flows through peaceful meadows where wildflowers bow to greet its passing. Sometimes it crashes through narrow canyons where the walls seem to close in from all sides. Sometimes it pools in quiet lakes, resting in stillness before continuing its journey. But through all these changes, it remains essentially river always flowing, always moving toward union with something larger than itself. This is how we can love, like a river moving toward the sea of universal love. We carry the gifts others have given us without becoming burdened by them. We adapt to the landscape of relationship without losing our essential direction. We trust that our nature will guide us toward the deepest possible connection, even when the path is unclear, even when obstacles appear in our way. As you breathe slowly in the darkness, imagine that you are resting beside this river. Feel its presence, the soft sound of water over stones, the cool mist rising from its surface, the sense of something alive and purposeful moving through the night. This river has been flowing for thousands of years, through drought and flood, through seasons of abundance and seasons of scarcity. It has never stopped trusting its own movement, never doubted its worthiness to reach the sea. Now turn your inner gaze upward to the stars, scattered across the dome of night like seeds of light planted in the soil of infinity. Each star burns with its own fire, following its own path through space, yet all are part of one vast dance of cosmic relationship. They shine not because they try to shine, but because shining is their nature. They give their light freely to all who can see, asking nothing in return. The star teaches us about loving from abundance rather than scarcity. It doesn't worry about running out of light or saving some illumination for special occasions. It burns with complete generosity, trusting that its source is infinite. When we love like stars from the natural radiance of our being, rather than from the desperate attempt to get something in return, we discover that love is not depleted by giving, but actually increases, like a flame that lights 1,000 candles, without diminishing itself. Each star in the night sky has been burning for millions of years, some for billions, offering their light across impossible distances to reach us here in this moment. They teach us about the patience of true love, how it can shine steadily across vast stretches of time and space, how it can reach us even when the one offering the light is far away, how constancy is not about clinging to one form, but about maintaining the essential radiance of our nature, regardless of circumstances. The stars also teach us about our place in the larger cosmos of relationship. Just as each star is both utterly unique and part of constellations, galaxies, and the unified field of space itself, each of us is both completely individual and inseparably connected to the web of all relationships. We can shine our own unique light while participating in the greater patterns of love that connect all beings. Feel now the gentle moonlight falling through your window, or imagine it if the moon is hidden tonight. The moon teaches us perhaps the most profound lesson of all, how to give light without claiming it as our own. The moon has no light of its own. It simply receives the sun's radiance and reflects it with such grace that we speak of moonlight, as if it were an original creation. This is the secret of the most beautiful relationships. We learn to reflect the love that flows through us without claiming ownership of it. We become like the moon, transparent enough to receive love's light, luminous enough to offer it to others, humble enough to know that the radiance we share is not ours, but belongs to the source from which all love flows. The moon also teaches us about the natural cycles of relationship. It waxes and wanes, sometimes full and radiant, sometimes a mere sliver in the darkness, sometimes completely hidden from view, yet it never stops being the moon. Its essence is not dependent on how much of itself is visible at any given moment. Similarly, our relationships go through natural phases of intensity and distance, visibility and hiddenness, without this meaning that love itself has disappeared. In the Buddhist understanding, the moon is often used as a symbol for enlightenment, not because it's bright, but because it illuminates without creating shadows of ego. When we love like moonlight, we bring gentle illumination to others' darkness without harsh judgment, without the glare that creates sharp divisions between light and shadow. Moonlight makes everything it touches beautiful, revealing the silver essence of even the most ordinary objects. And now, let your awareness rest with the mountains that stand in silent witness around us, even if they're invisible in the darkness. Mountains teach us about the kind of love that can weather any storm, endure any season, remain present through all changes. They are not passive in their stability. They're actively holding space for all the life that unfolds on their slopes, all the weather that moves across their peaks, all the seasons that transform their appearance, while never touching their essential nature. The mountain's love is the love of absolute presence. It doesn't try to change what it witnesses, doesn't judge the storms, or prefer the sunshine. It simply offers itself as a foundation for whatever wants to occur. This is how we can love when we've learned to rest in our deepest nature, not by trying to fix or change or improve our beloveds, but by offering them the gift of our unshakable presence, our willingness to be a stable ground in which they can explore all the seasons of their becoming. Mountains also teach us about perspective. From their peaks, the dramas that seem so overwhelming at ground level reveal themselves as part of much larger patterns. The river that seems to be rushing nowhere is revealed to be part of a vast watershed. The storm that seems destructive is seen as part of the weather that brings life. The forest fire that appears to be only devastation is understood as part of the natural cycle of renewal. When we love from the mountain's perspective, from the altitude of wisdom, rather than the valley of emotional reactivity, we can see our relationship challenges as part of larger patterns of growth and transformation. We don't minimize the reality of difficulties, but we hold them in a context vast enough to include both the breakdown and the breakthrough, both the death and the rebirth that are natural parts of love's evolution. As your breathing grows even slower and sleep approaches like a gentle tide, let these great teachers settle into your consciousness. You are the river, flowing toward love with natural intelligence. You are the star, shining with the light of your essential nature. You are the moon, reflecting the love that flows through you without claiming ownership. You are the mountain, offering unshakable presence to all who need a place to rest. In dreams tonight, you might find yourself walking by rivers that flow with liquid starlight, or climbing mountains bathed in moonlight, so pure it reveals the Buddha nature in every stone and tree. These are not mere fantasies, but glimpses of how relationship appears when seen through the eyes of awakened love, as movements in the one consciousness that we are, as plays of light and shadow in the vast space of being, as dances of separation and reunion in the heart of what was never actually divided. Rest now in this knowing. Let the river of your breath carry you toward the ocean of sleep. Let the starlight of awareness continue shining even as the mind grows quiet. Let the moonlight of consciousness illuminate your dreams with gentle wisdom. And let the mountain of your deepest being remain stable and present, witnessing it all with the tenderness of absolute love. And so we come to the end of our gentle journey together through the landscape of love and letting go, like travelers who have walked a moonlit path through forests of ancient wisdom and arrived at a clearing where rest is not just possible, but inevitable. As the deepest part of night embraces us, as consciousness prepares to release itself into the mystery we call sleep, let us gather the pearls of understanding we have found along the way. We began tonight with a simple question that has echoed in human hearts since the first moment two souls looked upon each other with longing. Why do we suffer in relationships? And we discovered, through the gentle teachings of Buddhist wisdom, that our suffering comes not from loving, but from forgetting the true nature of love itself. We learned that love is not something we have or get or lose, but something we are, the very essence of our being, the Buddha nature that shines through us like sunlight through clear water. When we remember this, when we love from the fullness of our own being, rather than from the emptiness of imagined need, relationship becomes a celebration rather than a struggle, a dance rather than a negotiation. We explored the ancient teaching of non-attachment, discovering that it doesn't mean loving less, but loving more wisely, holding our beloveds like butterflies on open palms, present to their beauty without needing to possess it, committed to their well-being without trying to control their choices. We found that the heart that has learned to break open, rather than break down, is capable of loving with a freedom that looks like magic to those still trapped in the prison of attachment. Through the story of Thich Ann, we saw how heartbreak can become a doorway to a deeper understanding of love, how the very experiences that seem to destroy our capacity for connection can actually expand it beyond anything we thought possible. We learned that what we call heartbreak is often heartbreak open, making room for more love. Not less. We journeyed inward to discover our own Buddha nature, that luminous awareness that has never been in relationship and never been out of relationship, because it is the ground from which all relationship arises. We practiced the gentle art of Tonglen, breathing in the pain of all beings who suffer in love and breathing out the medicine of compassion, discovering that our own healing and the healing of all beings are not separate processes, but one movement. Of the awakening heart, we uncovered hidden truths from the ancient, teaching stories of radish-washing women and Zen masters who understood that enlightenment is not an achievement but a recognition that love is not colored by our preferences, any more than Thursday is colored by our expectations. We learned that we don't suffer because we're broken beings who need others to complete us, but because we've forgotten that we are already whole. We discovered the profound stillness that lives at the heart of all relationship, the vast peace within which all the movements of love arise and dissolve. We explored what it means to awaken from the dream of separation, to recognize that the lover and the beloved are waves in the same ocean, expressions of the same love temporarily playing at being two. We learned from the great teachers that surround us always rivers that show us how to flow toward love with natural intelligence, stars that demonstrate how to shine from our essential nature, moonlight that teaches us to reflect love without claiming ownership, and mountains that embody the unshakable presence that can hold space for all the seasons of relationship. Through it all, we discovered that true freedom in relationship is not the ability to avoid commitment, but the capacity to love completely, while remaining completely fluid, like water that commits fully to flowing while never becoming rigid, like a tree that commits fully to growing while remaining flexible enough to dance with the wind. As I offer these final words into the gentle darkness where you rest, I want you to know that everything we've explored tonight is not just philosophy or poetry, but living truth that you can embody in your very next breath, your very next encounter, your very next moment of opening your heart to another being. You don't need to become someone different to love without suffering. You don't need to achieve some special state of enlightenment or master complex spiritual practices. You need only remember what you have always been, love itself, temporarily forgetting its own nature, playing the beautiful game of seeking and finding itself in the endless forms of relationship. Tomorrow, when you wake, you'll return to the world of particular relationships with particular people who have particular ways of loving and particular challenges to offer your growth. But you can meet them now from the spacious awareness we've explored together, from the place that is never threatened by change, never diminished by loss, never dependent on others for its essential wholeness. When someone disappoints you, you can remember the mountain's unshakable presence. When someone pulls away, you can remember the river's trust in its own flowing. When someone fails to love you the way you think you need to be loved, you can remember the star's generous radiance that shines from abundance rather than scarcity. And in the quiet moments, in the spaces between words, in the pause between heartbeats. You can remember the profound stillness we've touched together tonight, the peace that passes understanding, a love that needs no reason, the freedom that comes not from having no commitments, but from knowing that what you truly are can never be committed or uncommitted, can never be gained or lost, can never be anything other than the love that you are. Thank you, dear friend, for sharing this quiet path with me tonight. Thank you for bringing your heart to these ancient teachings, for allowing these words to find their way into the tender spaces where you hold your deepest longings and your deepest fears about love. Thank you for your willingness to consider that suffering in relationship is not inevitable, that love without attachment is not only possible but natural, that your heart is far vaster and more resilient than you may have imagined. As sleep approaches now, like a gentle mother calling her child home, as consciousness prepares to dissolve into the larger mystery from which it emerged, I offer you this final blessing. May you rest tonight in the knowing that you are already the love you seek. May your dreams be illuminated by the wisdom we've explored together, carrying these teachings into the depths where they can take root and blossom. May you wake tomorrow with a heart both more open and more free, more committed to loving and more unattached to the forms that love takes. Wherever you rest your head tonight, in a city apartment where the lights never fully fade, in a country cottage where crickets sing lullabies, in a place between places where only the heart knows the way home, may peace find you. May the Dharma light your dreams with gentle radiance. May you remember, even in sleep, that you are held always in the vast embrace of love that knows no beginning and no end. And may all beings everywhere who have ever loved and suffered, who have ever opened their hearts only to feel them breaking, who have ever wondered if they are worthy of the love they long to give and receive, may they too find their way to this recognition, this remembering, this coming home to what they have always been. Good night, dear friend. Rest well in the arms of infinite love, until we meet again in the space where all hearts are one heart, where all love is one love, where all awakening is the one consciousness recognizing itself in countless beautiful forms. Be well, be at peace, be the love that you are.